So, great. Where to start? Hi, my name is Fraser. I am the co-founder and club captain at Movember Rugby. I also play for the Richmond Saxons as of this year, and I am a 8-year Mobro and ambassador for Movember, a community and workplace ambassador, though I was formerly a student ambassador. So I did my first Movember when I was at university, just for a bit of fun with some friends. And I decided to become an ambassador because I thought we could raise more money and awareness if there was someone behind it, pulling the strings and organising people. In terms of my personal motivation, that comes from losing my dad when I was 16 years old. So he passed away without any real warning or illness, and it had a pretty profound impact on me. I chose to bury it, not grieve, get on with life and get on with things, which on the one hand led me down a really great path where I went to university and achieved a lot of things, but on the other hand had a real impact on my mental health. And ultimately, while I was at university, I spiraled really badly with my depression and tried to take my own life. So as a Movember ambassador, I'm now more accountable to myself for looking after myself, and I can use my story and my experiences to try and help other people and make sure that they don't find themselves in the same dark places that I did. So Mobros is an interesting one. Movember hosts an annual long lunch of all of its business partners, and they occasionally invite some ambassadors to go. And when I was a student ambassador, as a thank you for my fundraising, they invited me to this corporate long lunch. So I turned up to this big business do with no real idea of what I was doing. So did another ambassador called Zane, who was the ambassador at Exeter University. And we sat on the table together with a group of people who were interested in our rugby. And we just pondered on the fact that every single rugby player I know does Movember. Why isn't there a Movember rugby club? And it turned out that it had been tried before but not executed very well. And so I went to headquarters with Zane and we proposed a plan and said we really think that we could do this. And at the time, the thinking behind Mobros was just that we were going to set up small groups across the country of guys who could get together and play a bit of touch rugby in order to then stimulate having conversations with one another. What it's grown into is far beyond that, and we've now got men, women and students involved, which is really exciting. With Oxford University, we raised somewhere in the region of £40,000. With Deloitte, we've raised over £200,000. With Mobros, we've got over 150 men and 50 women involved in the setup. We're taking teams to places like Dubai Sevens and competing on the international stage. And we're starting a lot of conversations, and we're giving a lot of rugby players a community and a safe space to talk about how they're feeling. And I think that we're inspiring other sports people to do the same with things like football. I think what we've achieved is something to be proud of. I still think we've got a long way to go, and if anything, I'm more excited about what's to come over the next few years now that we've really got our feet under the table with this. The Memorial Cup was an idea that was spawned last year. We've done this game twice before, but it was last year that we thought that we'd name the cup. And my dad loved all sports. There was nothing that you couldn't catch him watching. It didn't matter what time of day, what league, what sport. If it was on television, he would be watching it, and it drove my mum up the wall. So it seemed only fitting that we would name a cup after him and have a competition in his name. Over the last 2 years, that's just been a men's game against the Q Occasionals, a team that I used to play for when I graduated. It's now expanded massively. So 2 years ago, we had our first students game where we took our students team to Oxford. And this year we had our first sisters team play at the Isle of Wight Sevens tournament, and they competed in the beach rugby, went undefeated and scored countless tries. It was really remarkable quite how good they were. So we've been able to bring all three of those aspects to the same place on the same day this year. We've got the students on Saturday kicking off against Oxford University Whippets at 1 o'clock. Then at 1:30, the sisters will compete against a barbarian-style team of women from across southeast England, representing their personal clubs. And then at 3 o'clock, you've got the Mobros kicking off against the South London Crabatoires and Friends. So that's a team consisting of friends that we've made on the Sevens circuit, which is really nice. Teams including the Booby Buckets and the Christina Noble Children's Foundation. So other charities as well, getting involved, raising awareness and money for Movember, and we think putting on a really competitive and entertaining game of rugby for everybody. So there are lots of ways to get involved with Movember. It's not just about growing a moustache. Some people can't grow moustaches, some don't want to, and that's why we also have Moving for Movember, Hosting for Movember, or Mowing Your Own Way. So Moving for Movember is exactly what all of our players will be doing on Saturday. They'll be running around a rugby pitch, but people can pick a different challenge that they want to take over the course of the month and get sponsored to do it. Hosting is what we're doing. We're hosting a big event. It doesn't have to be a humongous charity rugby event like we're hosting at Richmond. It can be a pub quiz, or it can be a dinner with your friends. Just something that gets people around a table where everybody chucks a tenner in the kitty and you raise a bit of money together. Or you can mow your own way and do something crazy. I've done a variety of crazy challenges over the years for Movember, from shaving moustaches into the back of my head to swimming in the Thames in budgie smugglers in November, trying to take on 5 Scottish Munro mountains in 5 days. I've had naked brunch suspended 100 feet in the air at a glass table with members of Made in Chelsea. You name it, I've done it. And I think that it doesn't matter what your zany idea is, if you've got something that you think that you're passionate about and you can find a way of tying it to men's health and raising a bit of awareness for the charity, it'll be most welcome. So grow, move, host, or mow your own way. But whatever you do, mow your way down onto Richmond on Saturday. So if you're interested and you want to come along, it's a £10 donation to the link in our bio, and we'll be taking donations on the day. There'll also be a big charity auction afterwards, and the club is generously donating a proportion of bar spends towards our fundraising as well. So come down, have a drink, watch some rugby, make some friends, raise some money for Movember, and together we can stop men dying too young.